Hi, this is Brian Pash, and welcome to another exciting podcast interview. This is one in a series leading up to NADA, and I want dealers to be able to be, deliberate in their schedule and intention on who to visit. And in the short list of companies that I recommend, I've invited Matt Leone, CEO of DriveCentric. Matt, welcome to the show.
Great to be here, Brian. Thanks.
We just released the 2026 Automotive CRM Research Report, leading all categories that apply to you. DriveCentric, the belle of the ball, based on dealer feedback. When you saw the results, how'd that feel?
Yeah, I'm so happy for our team. I know our support organization is top notch, but for them to get that recognition from from the customers and is great. For our engineering technology team, I think it's wonderful for them to have that reassuring comfort level what their hard work has done to pay off. I know our team internally, the only feedback I've been getting is how do we stretch these goals? How do we get them to 10? So the team's super fired up, but I think the team's now hungered to expand our lead there. And then maybe get into that next category as well, where we'd like to be number one in every category.
I'm glad you brought up the engineering team because they are really the unsung heroes. They are the people who are getting client feedback requests. They're trying to work sprints into a reasonable cadence that doesn't break things or shock customers. So I want to just lean in for a moment and thank all the folks behind the scenes who are developing, because DriveCentric, when it came out, and you've joined the company in the last year, had a whole different framework. They called themselves an engagement platform, had video built in. It was a completely different mindset. Were they just way ahead of the curve, Matt, compared to now everyone's saying we need a dealership-wide engagement platform, not a lead handling platform?
I am fortunate by far to be here, and like you said, for about a year now. And the three co-founders are still very much in the business. I talk to them very frequently, and they are very great advisors for me. But they were definitely ahead of the curve on a lot of different fronts, along with Steve Russer, who's our Chief Evangelist Officer and does a great job of promoting DriveCentric. But the areas that they were ahead of the curve on was, let's be mobile first. 120,000 mobile users on our platform now, 60,000 on a daily basis running it. As you pointed out in the research report, incredibly high scores by people on how good we are on mobile. But being mobile, I think they were ahead of the curve. Being in engagement and understanding engagement is not rigid workflows and tasks. Those were traditional CRM functions. I think they were way ahead of the curve. And then finally, Genius. Genius was embedded in our product going back 5 years ago, before even ChatGPT was even a thing. And the fact that they had seen the idea of what's coming, I think, we're now leading the next evolution. And a lot of the things you just highlighted in your research report, which is, okay, we did a really good job breaking out of the pack of CRM as what does it need to do to evolve? And that was really from, 2010 to about 2026. What's next from 2026 to 2030 is almost everything you mentioned in your research report, which I think DriveCentric is going to lead the next chapter of that evolution as well.
I shared the dealer scoring on LinkedIn, and the comments are, very funny, sarcastic in some. A lot of people said, hey, no surprise, DriveCentric. That was the dealership voice. I'm also encouraging dealers to download the report to read the context of another chart, something like a four-square magic quadrant that is very popular outside of automotive industry. And DriveCentric was in the upper right, leading in the upper right. The axes were strength of platform and strength of innovation. And on innovation and platform, super high scores. And of course, the dealer scores back that up, but the quadrant is our research. And one of the areas that kind of gave you that high score was the the focus on not resting on your laurels and really pushing the envelope more. Like, for example, I didn't know you had marketing automation, even, me, because my brother Glenn is in the
Hmm.
field. He helps dealers improve their sales process. I didn't know you had identity pixel. And, what I said to you is, Matt, you better
But
scream
more
and
marketing.
holler. I was like, that really changes the environment when when existing customers are back on the website or when to trigger a marketing piece. Is that the AIM
Yep.
product? That's the marketing automation piece. Tell me a
Yep.
little bit about that.
Well, first, let me just acknowledge that, yeah, the idea of, you know, we when you get a new CEO, you get investments, there's the worry of falling back on the lull, like you said. And I just want, your audience and everybody to know that, all we're doing is pumping money into innovation R&D. We are trying to lead the evolution as fast as possible. There is no shortage of reinvestment that we're doing at DriveCentric.
That's great.
When I was on your
Great news.
podcast, when I first joined as CEO, I said I'd commit to three things that I would focus on that I knew were sort of negative marks of DriveCentric. One was we were closed off. Well, we've really doubled down on our investments of what we call our partner hub, our API program. We have dozens being launched constantly of new data integrations bi-directional. I said I would be really investing in reporting. We've rolled out custom reporting, revamped all that in 2025. We rolled out Genius reporting, which is natural language reporting, puts us, I think, way ahead of the curve on reporting. And I said I would be investing in the core. We've extended our support hours, our investment in our customer accounts, more
Yeah, I love
engineers,
that.
more things around, the product. So I think we're doing a really good job of saying we're going to put our money where our mouth is and show the market we are continuously investing in the core product. But as the market now starts to understand and we sell bigger dealer groups, we sell more public dealer groups, and people do a deeper dive into who is drive-centric, I think they realize what your research report highlighted, which is the CRM category itself has evolved. If you
Yes.
think of it as a basic sales engagement tool and sales reporting tool, you're missing the idea of a CRM as a platform. It is the
Right.
engagement platform. In order to be an engagement platform, you have to be able to understand customer identity. You have to be able to understand marketing automation to activate that data. You have to be able to understand how to integrate into an ecosystem, which is that API. And ultimately, you end up with your diagram, which we totally agree with your research report. You have a CRM at the center that's connected to a CDP or a customer data platform, identity resolution. We call it our insight. You then connect that data to a marketing platform or marketing automation platform, which we call our AIM product. And then you wrap it around with agents. We've always had Genius. And those fundamental building blocks is you take data, you centralize it, you cleanse and enrich it, you then pump it around the ability to do the different things you need to be able to do. And we've always had a marketing automation platform for the last couple of years. Just the whole market doesn't know it except for the great users that use it and love it. And they give us really good feedback. But how do I tell the other, dealers out there in the US, hey, come take another look at DriveCentric. It's worth a
Yes.
look because it is not your just standalone CRM. It is a complete platform with chat, digital retailing, reputation management. These are tools we've had in our kit bag for some time. But we've grown so fast and so quickly that I think the rest of the market is catching up to realizing what is DriveCentric turned into.
Yeah, and that's why I wanted to put out this research report because, there are, clear examples documented by dealers, documented by our research where gaps existed in the tech space that DriveCentric quickly filled. And this was the vision of the original founders, which I have to give them amazing credit for. And when you talk about platform, that's why one of the axes on our Magic Quadrant was strength of platform. I think dealers are looking to reduce the number of software vendors, right? I think that's a theme at NADA this year, consolidation. They want a centralized, unified customer profile that the whole business runs off of. And they want tools to help them fill gaps when humans make mistakes or forget to do something, that there's a backstop. And that's why I'm
Yeah.
excited for NADA. We have some big announcements, that have been teased from all the vendors. I know you have some big announcements coming up next week. But I want to encourage dealers to get out to the DriveCentric booth, leading in dealer satisfaction, leading in tech innovation from our Magic Quadrant, and more importantly, as Matt mentioned, everything that he said about 6 months ago on the podcast has taken place, right? I mean, you have data hygiene, API integration. You have a number of really cool API integrations that you'll be announcing. This is a great, great time to accelerate. Matt, when you look at the challenges that dealers are having today, the gaps in their current process, and where you want to take the company, what is one thing you would want to say to a dealer principal or a CTO of a dealer group why they should come and spend a few minutes with you and your team at NADA? There's a lot of choices, but why should they come and spend time with you?
It's a great question, and you did a really good job with your research report. I commend you for leading the efforts around this research and putting that out there. And one of the statements I read in your report was the single most important platform an owner operator or a GM can make is what platform are they going to centralize their customer engagement, their revenue generating platform around. And too often I'm hearing dealerships in tech consolidation. I'm a big fan of tech consolidation, but I've come from outside of auto. I was in the ecosystem, a lot of different verticals before. And these are where you have other vendors where you've realized quickly your ERP or the equivalent of a DMS is your accounting and your back office tool, and it needs to perform well because it's the record. But where you interact with customers is why you've got a sales force dominating the market outside of auto tech. Just like in now auto tech, the single most important platform should be the one focused on engagement. And so I just
Yes.
encourage those really to take a second look at a bolt-on, a throw in, an afterthought, and say, where do I want to centralize my team, my people, my F&I manager, my service advisor, my sales team around a platform they want to use, a platform that can be supported natively through AI, and a platform that I can trust the data in that platform has the data hygiene wrapped around it, the centralization of that customer record so I can look back on anything. And if the dealer really has a choice, they have absolutely need for a bolt-on, we support that through our partner hub and we'll integrate with it. But we do believe we can now become, hey, you don't need all these bolt-ons because passing data around has security risks, has vulnerability risks, has all sorts of vendor costs and other issues that come along with that. And you did a really good job highlighting that. But we'd also believe in dealer choice. We're going to allow the market to understand what they want to have as long as the core platform is running through DriveCentric. We're good with that. And then we'll continuously innovate around the ecosystem of that and then feed it into the accounting general ledger so that stays true and clean. But that is really where I want that market to really understand is why look at DriveCentric and look at it probably more than just simply a CRM. Look at it as a platform.
Yeah, and I'll add one thing. My concern is that if dealers don't understand that they need to partner with a tech company that has a platform vision, they're going to be buying two, three, four, or five different AI tools, working off different data sets. They're going to end up causing more problems. Imagine having employees working 24/7 with bad data. It's bad enough that bad data working 9 to 5 or whatever, a business hour, 10-hour day. Imagine 24/7. And there's been some really thoughtful comments, online about the guardrails about AI. I think we'll get the guardrails right. I'm concerned that dealers are bolting on too many AI single use tools that aren't communicating, not enriching, and not enhancing the next iteration of customer communication. When you have a centralized inbox with every communication across all departments, AI can be really amazing. So the future of an engagement platform, a dealer-wide communication platform is where we need to go. Right now, many dealers are, focus, sell the lead, close it, boom. I got another
Hmm.
piece of software for lifecycle. I have another piece of software for service reminders. I have my chat. I have my DR, and
Yeah.
it's data fragmentation. Holy cow! I can't wait for some of this consolidation to take place. Matt, which hall is the DriveCentric booth going to be in? Numbers, no one will remember numbers. Is in the West Hall, North Hall? Where are we this year?
We're in the main hall, and I would just encourage people if they really want to stop by the DriveCentric booth, and I'd love you to come by. You could pre-register for, a demo if you'd like. You could also pre-register for our product unveil. We're going to actually do on the 3rd at our booth in the morning, first session. Bob Mimosas. We're going to do a full product unveiling of all the features we plan to roll out or have rolled out in 2026. And then the second day on the 4th, we're going to do a full live demo. We're going to be able to show end to end the product in a live demonstration using a real dealer with real customers, with real phone calls, and show a complete demo. So, 2 sessions worthwhile if you're interested in stopping by and having a look at DriveCentric.
Great. And I want to tell you, their booth is going to be pretty busy as a result of just their future blueprint that they've been teasing out to dealers. Steve
Mm,
Ressler, of course, is drumming
amazing.
up attention, but more importantly, as a result of the research report, people who haven't looked at DriveCentric recently, I'm sure are going to do it. So go to drivecentric.com and book a demo. This way, you at least have a reserved spot and time because the booth is going to be on fire. Matt, thank you for coming back on. I know you're busy getting ready for NADA. Thank you for honoring the 3 promises you made 6 months ago when you took over the job. And I know the companies that are integrating with your API are super happy that you really opened up the platform for best of breed integration partners. So thanks for honoring your word. And I look forward to seeing you at NADA myself.
Brian, thank you.
Thanks everyone for listening in. I hope to see you at NADA. Drop me a message. Let's have a coffee together or a drink. See everyone soon in Las Vegas.